Now, look, if they're struggling, don't put the two together. Don't be in a hurry just because you wrote that shit on your outline. Like, this is what I'm going to do today in class. This is what I'm doing. But if they suck at this and they suck at this, don't put them together. They're going to suck at that too.
Two wrongs make a right.
Yeah, and now they went from frustrated about this to frustrated about this, and now they're frustrated about everything you just had to fucking do. Okay? And you're frustrated, everybody's frustrated. And you're just continuing to shove it down their throats thinking, well, if I give them more, surely they'll get it, they'll start to understand it. No, they won't. It'll get worse. I'll give you a good example of this. When I taught, or I took my phase C with Krav Maga Worldwide in LA, we were doing backfall breaks. And the way they had, this is so stupid, but the way they had you do it was no crash pad or anything. You're on mats like this. And they had you stand like this with your hands straight out. And you had to jump up in the air and make your feet touch your hands and do a backfall break.
100%.
And if you did it right the first time, you're done. You're good. But if you didn't, you had to keep doing it. Well, now, if you didn't do it right the first time, do you think they got better or they got worse? As it got, like, I remember sitting off to the side watching people thinking, God, like, he's going to fucking kill. Because you start tightening everything up, it gets progressively much, much worse. Okay? Yes. Yeah. And now you got, everybody's watching you. It's like fucking terrible. So now you have that stress. So if they're not getting something on the front end, don't give them more. Don't put more stress on it, more pressure on it. Don't add a technique to it, whatever. Okay? Reframe. And look, the reality is if 2/3 of your room is not getting it, that's probably you. That's probably not them. There's something in the way that you delivered the information. Maybe you just went too fast. Maybe you assumed too much. Maybe you looked at the group and thought, well, they should know at least most of this or whatever. But if most of your room is not getting something, that's probably a coaching issue. And you should recognize that and not let your ego get the better of you and just keep hammering shit home. Like, reframe, dial it back, teach it a different way, use different analogies, use different demonstrations, break it down into smaller pieces, whatever you need to do. But if most of your room's not getting it, that's probably you. Okay? I say all that just like, ultimately you want them to be able to put all this together, right? And if you look at it like putting together Legos, if they get the bottom row really good, but they don't have the middles so much, and you jump to the top part, well, that shit doesn't work, right? So if they get the bottom part okay and they're still struggling with the next part, you need to stay there. Don't jump to the roof, because this whole fucking thing is going to fall down, all right? There shouldn't be a rush to get this information to you. Okay? It's not about your timeline as the coach. It's not.
That's not true. It's not. I'm just saying.
Especially at beginner levels, right? You're gonna get people that have never done anything. Nothing. And you're gonna use every analogy that you can fucking think of, and they're looking at you like, I have no idea. I'm like, God damn, have you ever left your house? But it takes. Those people exist, like, and I'm not saying like I don't teach to. I don't like this term, but it'll make sense in this room. I don't teach to the lowest common denominator. I don't. But I have to recognize that if I have a group of people that is all struggling with a thing, then I need to focus on that thing. I want to be able to teach to a room of people where, again, 14 to 78, all ranges of experience, and give everybody something that's going to challenge them and not bore them. But I also can't just teach to either the lower end or the higher end, because either way, I'm going to lose people. If I just teach the higher end, I'm going to lose the lower end people because they're like, this is too hard, I can't do this, I'm not going back. If I just teach the lower end people, The hiring people are going to be like, well, this is boring as shit. I've done this 8 million fucking times. I don't want to do this again. That's where coaching is evident in the room. When you have a good coach in the room, they can teach to everybody. Okay? It's easy to teach the high-end athletes. That shit's easy. Ask me how I know. I do it all the time. All the time. That's easy. You show them something one time, boom, they got it. That's not coaching. I don't have to coach those people. I don't. I show them a thing, they do the thing. Coaching is taking the 78-year-old that's never done anything. Coaching is taking the 14-year-old that is here because their mom made them come, and they don't want to be here. They feel awkward. They don't know how to move their limbs. You know, they're getting bullied at school, whatever. Coaching is getting that person engaged and paying attention and wanting to come back. I'll give you a good example here. These two will know this. We have a girl here, her name's Molly, and she had been moved from school to school. She was getting bullied. Her confidence level was, if you could have a less than 0, it would be less than 0. She wouldn't make eye contact. She wouldn't talk to people. She came in just like this. She didn't want to be here, whatever. When I tell you she looks and acts like a different human when she comes in the door now, like the other night, it took Buster a minute to just recognize who the fuck she was. The way she dresses, the way she carries herself, the way she engages with people, she smiles, she talks, she wants to be here. She doesn't have the problems in school anymore. That's coaching. I'm not saying it has anything to do with me. I'm saying that's the environment, the culture that you want to create in your space. Where somebody like that, who is not fitting in wherever they go, and is only here because their mom made them be here. And now when they're not here for a month, they want to come back. For me, that's why we do what we do. It ain't about throwing the fucking perfect right hand. Who cares? Who cares? Like, literally, who cares? Their elbow comes up. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care. They're here. They're smiling. They want to be here. They're excited about being here. They're talking to other people in the room. When it's time to spar, they're like, and they're going to everybody in the room. They're sparring with grown-ass men. They don't care. Whereas before, they wouldn't have left the corner. That's coaching. Understanding, okay, your foot has to be here, this angle of this and that, whatever. I mean, you got to be able to do that. That ain't coaching. That's teaching, yes. Okay, those are not the same. Everybody in here, in your academic career, you had teachers that resonated with you for some reason. I can think of two, especially one that I had, that went beyond just teaching. I hated school. My whole life, I hated it. Couldn't stand it. But we all have those teachers that resonated with us for some reason. I didn't hate going to her class. I wanted to go to her class. I didn't want to be at school, but I wanted to go to her class. That's the difference listen, it's easy on the school owner side, the organization side, the coaching side, to just say, look, here's the outline, here's the techniques, here's the steps for each technique. Go do that. That's easy. And everybody in here can do that. But I can get a chimp to do that. Thank you. With enough time, I can get my Belgian Malinois to do that. Like, it's that's just regurgitating information. I have a parrot. I promise he can do that. It would come back. So look, when I say all this because at the end of the day, like as coaches, we want them to be able to do all this stuff, and we want to be able to do it. We want them to be able to do it right. but we have to manage our expectations. We have to manage their expectations. And again, make a distinction between I am here to be a coach, which extends beyond just regurgitating information that I learned from a manual or a book or a video or a course, even a course, and find ways to connect with the people in the room that really need what we're doing. The people that they come through the door and they're not daunted by sparring. They're Steven. I don't have to do anything with him. Like, he's not scared to spar anybody. He came in with a skill set, you know. But to have somebody like that in the same room with Trent or Molly or Jack, who I didn't even know Jack spoke for the first month he was here. Like, I thought he was mute. I didn't know he knew how to talk. And now he's coming up to me and asking me about competitions and stuff. Like, he's been here, what, a month, 5 weeks, something like that. Literally for the first month, I was like, what the fuck is wrong with him? And it's just that he's a teenage boy. But he's literally last week comes to me after class and asks me about a competition, about doing a competition. Now, he should not. But that's just a huge difference in a short amount of time. And that's the difference between coaching, which is what we do and why we use that term versus teaching or even in instructing. I prefer the term coach for what we do. Okay. So as a coach, recognize, all right, we just did this movement, we just did this movement. Can I put them together or not? Is it going to benefit my group or not? Is it going to benefit 2/3 of them and a third of them not? You guys that come to my jiu-jitsu class, like at the end of my jiu-jitsu classes, I'm like, all right, look, if you're relatively new and you want to just continue to drill the things that we just did, do that. If you want to roll, you need to go over here and roll. As opposed to, you know, all right, well, they don't know shit, so I'm going to make this person roll with this person and whatever. And I'm not saying there's not a time and place to do that because everybody needs to learn to roll at some point. But especially grappling, I think it's already so awkward for people, you know. Having that understanding of how to onboard and on-ramp people is important. Okay.